And Mr. Gilbert, Mr. Buchanan, who is not here right now, but he will be back next week. He is taking care of some business at the, what is it, the CES show, the one that's in Vegas, the electronic show?
Mm-hmm,
yeah. So he is excited because he's hoping he will meet, and not hoping, he is going there with the definitive plan to meet some individuals that's going to help take his Small Biz Pro to the next level.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah, you got to go out there.
Got to go get it.
So we have a lady in the studio today. Her name is Cassie Betts, and Miss Cassie, she has a couple businesses. Do you
couple things happening.
A couple of things happening. So she's the CEO of Miss LA or
Misla,
mm-hmm. Or which is an organization, nonprofit organization.
Correct.
And then she's also the founder of a company called District 2. District 2.
District 2 is a fashion tech company. Yes.
Okay. So this one lady is unique. She's in technology. Now, everybody's always saying that black folks are not in technology. That is truly not the case. Because she is, and as long as I've known her, and I think you came to a workshop or something I was doing, and at that time...
Recycling black dollars.
Right, and you had just started...
Yes.
You had just started District 2.
And how long ago was that?
It was a thought.
That was like in 2012.
Okay.
That's where I met Joe Rouzan. I stalked him, yes.
Okay,
Hi,
you
Joe.
stalked him. So let me give you a little background. So she's been in the apparel business for 15 years, working with such companies as Disney, MGA, Warner Brothers, and having her designs grace the retail stores of Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's, JCPenney's, Macy's, Kohl's, Target, to name a few. She is a fashion... what's that?
Fashionista?
Fashionista. She might look younger, but millions of dollars in fashion industry revenue has stemmed from her fingertips. She is a custom couture wedding and red carpet dress designer. No, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Did you say wedding?
Yes.
Wedding.
BusinessZone.
I know, I heard your previous show.
And on top of all that, which usually you don't see those two to go together, she's a tech junkie.
Yes.
So you managed to marry your love for tech and your love of fashion, and that is what District 2 is, right?
Yes.
That's it.
So can you tell us, welcome, first of all,
Thank
to the
you.
show.
Welcome to the show.
And glad to have you, and I've known Cassie for a little while. She actually spoke with our kids at Biz Camp a number of years ago. I think that's the first time I met you.
Yeah.
And she has an incredible story, and out of that story she's created this incredible young woman. She has two wonderful young men, and they're...
Hi, Cameron and Jaden.
Cameron and
children.
Jaden.
Yes.
And they are a part of the...
Young men.
Young men. Pete Brown Jr., because one of them stands taller than she is.
Wow.
And they are part of the Pete Brown Jr. tennis program. And so when I told her we had a free program, she just rushed over with her kids.
Quick.
And then we actually even got her out on the tennis court, and she's playing tennis. So welcome. Glad to have you. So tell us a little bit more about you, and how did you manage to merge these two?
Yes.
And why didn't you choose one instead of the other?
Well, I didn't choose one instead of the other. I chose them both.
Yes.
Because that's life. You know, you can do a little bit of everything you want to do in life. But I learned to code when I was 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not as wow as it sounds, because really the only reason I learned was because my father had put, he came home one day, he was like, oh, you want to play computer games? Well, here's a book, and it was this OG language called Pascal. Which,
I remember that.
For young engineers, way back when, telling my age. But, and if I wanted to play the games, I had to code them. I had to program them into the computer. And so that's when I first learned, and it was not cool. It wasn't like it is now, like coding is coding. You know, Zuckerberg, Facebook, we got Snapchat.
Yeah, no, that
you
was,
know, everything's cool now, but then it was not.
Right.
At all. So,
and you just wanted to play games.
I want to play games, like everybody else on the block.
Awesome.
You know, well, I got to build the game. You know, so that's how I got into it. And I was just always a techie. I was kind of forced into it, you know. But I'm glad actually now in hindsight, that I was. But I kind of wish I had known really how dope it was. Then, you know, like I was just like, I'm gonna be a fashion designer because that's sexy. You know, I guess it's not.
Yeah.
So anyway, fast forward, I did the whole fashion design thing, traveled the world, made the money, worked for a lot of companies, started my own business. It was great. And then I was just like, why isn't, like, when I got into the fashion industry, I thought that the technology was going to be like, it's fashion, like, it's going to be fly, it's going to be cool, it's going to be sexy. It was like Microsoft Excel spreadsheets, and Adobe Illustrator.
Wait a minute, excuse me, where the sexy part?
Okay, which Adobe Illustrator, Adobe, y'all are sexy, okay, I mean, y'all are definitely sexy, but Microsoft Excel spreadsheets.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm going to make some software to, help the fashion industry. And then as I got into it, I was like, ooh, okay, maybe I'm just going to make a platform for the fashion industry.
Right.
So I made a platform that connected indie fashion designers with manufacturers.
Okay.
So designers can post on our platform, district2.co is the website, and they can post like a production project. Let's say you want to make 1,000 jackets, and then manufacturers bid on it, and you can hire them from our platform.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's what I did.
Wow.
Okay.
And because of my background, you talked about my background. So because of my background, I've always made sure that I give back to the community.
Mm-hmm.
I've been volunteering for as long as I can remember. Since I got on my feet, I've been volunteering for different nonprofits because I was homeless. I was a homeless teen. I slept outside. I know what it feels like to sleep on a cardboard box, y'all.
Really?
And it's not. It's actually, a cardboard box is way more comfortable than the sidewalk. I will tell you that.
Wow.
Whoa.
But yes, I know. And bus stop benches. I mean, life happens.
Yes,
and,
it does.
And you can't judge people because you don't know where they came from, where they've been, and you
Right.
don't know where you're going because
Yeah.
we're all just one paycheck or one company closing away from the
Yes.
streets.
No doubt.
So we can't forget that. And I always wanted to give back. So in 2014, I started MISLA with a group of friends in South LA. MISLA stands for Made in South LA.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, we hired a bunch of high schoolers to come work at District 2. So we got a grant, and the grant helped pimp out our space. We were at Soledad and Richmond Action at the time, which is a charter school. You guys know, in Manchester. Funny, I didn't know at the time, but that's the charter school. The charter school where all the bad kids go.
Right.
But those kids were awesome. I didn't even know for 6 months. I'm there with the baddest of the bad, so to speak.
Really?
And they were awesome. Yeah, I mean, the kids have never been an issue at any of our boot camps or anything we've done. We haven't had any issues here in South LA at all. It's been all love. It's been all great. The only issues are politics,
Yeah. And that's really what created the bad kids was the politics. Not the kids. Right. It was the presumption that the kids were supposed to be bad to keep them in their place.
Exactly.
So what does MISLA do?
So MISLA now is a boot camp. So we are a project of Vermont Slauson Economic Development Center, which is VSEDC, is what everybody knows it as. So Vermont Slauson helps small businesses in South LA. Last year, I think they loaned out about $5 million to small businesses in South LA.
Biggest, second to SBA.
Right, just second to SBA. So I'm very happy to be a project because District 2 started with Vermont Slauson.
Okay.
So, and I think I've made them proud. I was in Forbes.
Awesome.
We did good things. We're doing good things, with District 2. And so then MISLA. They took it under their wing, and we're doing coding boot camps. So we have boot camp. This year we have boot camps that will be at BALA, Boys Academic Leadership Academy.
Okay.
Shout out to the BALA boys. And View Park High. We are also doing a pitch competition with different high schools in South LA. That's through Union Bank. It's called the Youth Entrepreneurial Challenge. So you can find information on that on vsedc.org.
Okay.
And that pitch competition last year, the top prize was $5,000. And the students won $5,000, $2,500, and $1,000 first, second, third place. Our team, the team I coached, I coached all the View Park kids. Well, students. They don't like being called kids because they're in high school. They grown. Yes. They so grown.
Yeah, they grow.
And then it hurts them because I look like a kid. They're like, who are you going to be a kid? You know? I'm like, I'm so grown. I'm so grown.
Right.
So anyway, they won second place. And then we had a boot camp afterwards where they built their own websites.
Wow.
So now the really cool thing that our youth are doing are we're training them to code by building websites for local South LA businesses.
That is awesome.
So if you're a business, you need a website.
That is awesome.
MISLA.org. Hit us up and you'll click the Hire Us button and you'll see information about how to commission us to build your website. It's tax deductible.
Really?
We will look out for you. It's $1,000 normally, but if you are a South LA or nonprofit business, we will
So
look
it's
out for you.
$1,000. That's the rate for the website.
It's $1,000, but we will look out for you.
That's a good rate, though. That's a good price.
That's a really
Call
good.
me and I will hook you up. Hook you up.
So the kids that's come through your program, are they enthusiastic about tech, and are they going to college to pursue a career in technology?
They really are, especially like the middle schoolers. I was kind of dreading like working with middle schoolers, but after I got there, I was just like, oh my God, they're so into it. And I think they're not as jaded as the high schoolers. High school, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all know who y'all are.
Uh-huh.
They're a little like, they're high schoolers. They're
Right.
so cool. They got it all figured out,
Right.
and they're a little harder to kind of like, say, hey, why don't you look into this technology thing? Because in 2 years, you could be making, good money. I took a 6-month boot camp with Code District. Shout out to Code District. I got a scholarship. It was in Torrance, and it was hard. Okay, Michael Dyer, my instructor, he kicked my butt, and he called me the weakest link. Yes, he did every day. The weakest link. That was I was the worst coder. Okay,
Really?
I really was. I was the worst. I was the weakest. I got up to the board. He was like, "Okay, write out the JavaScript for a Fibonacci sequence," and I was like, "Okay, I don't know." But by the end of the class, I was coding. I was writing the code on the board. JavaScript is not a game.
And how long is the class?
It's 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, but you need like a good 2 months. Like what we teach is kind of like the precursor to that boot camp. Like that is like you're going to work like the people who took that boot camp, like they have jobs. I think they're starting at like $70K.
What's the age group?
That Code District is grown, is adults, 18 plus.
And
but we work with MISLA works with 10 and up. 10 and up. It kind of depends on where we're
and from
at.
MISLA, they go over to the boot camp.
From MISLA, well, not the 10-year-olds because that would be great.
But you said 10 and up, so if they're
that.
18 years old, then they can go over to the...
then they can go over to Code District. Shout out to Code District because they are very serious about diversity, and that's why I created MISLA was because we wanted to really work on the diversity in tech. I mean, it's a problem. It's a big problem.
And it's interesting because sometimes I think because we don't understand it, so as adults that we figure everything is all preset for us, right? And especially when you could websites are preset and it's just drag and drop, that they don't see that it's so important for our children to learn that. I remember one of the companies that I worked for, last company I actually worked for, there were young kids. It was right at the early stages of the dot-coms. And I remember an 18-year-old kid came in. He had taught himself how to program, and he came in making $70,000 at 18 years old.
You teach yourself. It's on YouTube. You can just teach yourself how to code.
You really can. Actually, you really can.
I think you teach yourself anything. It's on YouTube.
Some tools, some good websites I like. Udemy, UDEMY, Udemy.com, I believe.
Really?
Coursera. I believe Coursera has MIT classes on there. And MIT, basically you could take the whole MIT curriculum online. It's available to everybody. It's it's available, but it's intense. You know what I'm saying?
How much are these courses?
So our courses, they run $750 per student. However, again, we will
$750
$750
for the course.
to $1,500 because we have different courses, which I'll talk about in a second. But we give scholarships, lots of scholarships, and we don't want money to be an issue. You know? So we get grants in order to be able to do the boot camps completely free if we get enough grant people. Found it.
And that's not. I mean, that's doable because the Biz Camp, we get that fully funded, and it's like a $1,500 value per child.
Yes.
And we get that fully funded every
so
year.
Far, that's what we've been doing. We're getting them funded by different means. I want to give a shout out to my partner, Sean Fitzpatrick, who is like a super hacky, techie, geeky guy who I could not hack all these laptops that we have to literally hack these laptops to work because they're so old.
I like her.
That we have. So good looking out, Sean, of Teamwork Team Studios. So some of the things, can I talk about some of the things we have?
Yes, please do.
So I do have a big announcement to make that I'm really excited about. So Vermont Slauson Economic Development Center, VSEDC, owns a 10,000 square foot building on Slauson and Western. Well, it's on Western, just
it's
south
like
of
67th or 68th, somewhere like that.
Yeah, Slauson and Western. And so it currently serves as a business incubator right now. There are businesses there that they rent out rooms for a discounted rate. They have workshops and seminars for the businesses. BSCDC.org, y'all. It's awesome. I am a fan, clearly. Now I'm their lead tech consultant.
Oh, okay. Terry Goubertin's one of my favorite people.
Terry, yes. Joe, Greg, Terry, all of them.
Yeah, Joe's my other. He's definitely a fan of RBD, Recycling Black Dollars.
Terry is so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, but so we are working with the Annenberg Foundation through Pledge LA in order to turn that 10,000 square foot center into what I like to call as a creative collective, where we're focusing on tech and entertainment, and we'll be doing boot camps for web design. We have video game and animation and video game programming classes coming up right now.
Wow.
Before we even finish remodeling the location, I mean, we're like, hey, let's just make it work with what we got. We got old computers. We can hack those to work. We gonna make this work. Some of y'all geeks, y'all need to call us because we were doing really cool things. Sean is a freaking genius on those computers. I can't believe how he makes like a 1995 computer work.
Really?
Amazingly.
Really?
It's brilliant.
Because my computer broke down yesterday. I'm coming over to your house.
I mean, he was taking it apart. So I'm also the technical, I work with Black Women in Tech.
Okay.
I'm director of tech learning for Black Women in Tech, and we're talking about doing a hardware class where we take apart computers.
Oh, wow.
And put them back together again, kind of like what Sean and I are doing with our boot camps, where they can, the students will learn how to, put the computers together from scratch. And the founder of Black Women in Tech is like super into hardware. And what's up, Lori? If you're watching.
Phenomenal. My nephew, he blew us away last Christmas. He was it was like his little factory, and he was in there, and all his stuff kept coming to the house. He's like, "What you getting ready to do?" I mean, big boxes, and he goes,
"He like, what you building?"
Yeah, what you building? And my sister-in-law, "You're not building a bomb in your room, are you?" What you doing? So he says, very nonchalantly, "I'm building a gaming computer," and we're like, "Who told you how to do that?"
The internet.
And so he got all his stuff in, and Christmas Eve, or 2 days before Christmas, he was in his room for 24 hours. He didn't even serve us to eat that we know of, and he built himself.
How old is he?
He's 22 now.
How
he built himself, at that time he was 20, he built himself a gaming computer. It's got lights and flashing and the console with the red and the green and the blue. And then
like,
he
if
turned
we can't afford it, we're gonna build it.
Right. So that's what he did. And now he taught himself how to edit video. And so now he has signed up with Fiverr and Upworks, and so he has a couple of gigs.
That's awesome. See, y'all, I'm telling you, like, you can teach yourself, and there's all these resources.
Yes.
In and around you. I mean, some of the resources that I work with directly. I'll just name a few. Like Steam Coders is one that's working out of They teach middle schoolers how to code. Limitless Academy. They do robotics. The Brotherhood Crusade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Doing big things. Who else?
And then I guess we need to, once our kids finish the biz camp, we need to move them on over to you.
We've been talking about that.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
a lot of those kids, when they create these amazing businesses, quite a few of them are tech. Quite a few of them have app type of businesses. Some work in app. Some should work as platforms. But of course, they create the concept and the feasibility of it, and then maybe we can move them on over to you, and then they can actually. It can become an actual reality product.
It really can. And I remember when I had this thought of like students building and like an MVP. I remember when I built my MVP, I mean, it cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally. Right. So the concept of like a student building an MVP was like, this is just not fair because I spent so much money. I mean, it's not to the extent of my, District 2, but still to have something live online that does anything, that takes emails, that people can buy pre-sales or whatever, that does anything is pretty impressive. You know?
It is.
To do. So I was just blown away by the students, by the team that helped put this whole curriculum together. Shout out to Chris. I call him my fairy godbrother because he's like this brilliant engineer who just comes and sits with me and helps me hack things out, and that's what I love about the tech community. Like they're so helpful and giving, and they'll show up and they'll show out, and especially if you tried.
Right.
I'm like, look what I tried to build.
And they like laugh.
Let me help you out.
Okay, let us help you.
I know I was the worst coder in my class.
So, are young women getting into? Because I know because when you earlier, I think it was sometime last year, and they were saying the percentage of women that work at the Googles and the Yahoos are very small.
I think it's 4%. I want to say, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's about 4%.
Yes,
in tech.
a small number.
1% is African American. It's very small, and it hasn't changed for a very long time. So what I find, which is very interesting in our coding camps, from little girls to adults, are the girls are like kicking the boys' butt.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, why is it that tech is all men when the girls
are the ones that really...
It's somewhere around adulthood where somewhere we get in our minds we can't
that is
do
the boy thing?
Something. I don't know, So, I mean, in my coding class, definitely the Asian boy was the best coder.
Yeah, but they have. I think because of the whole gaming thing with them. But you're right. Because even when we had the biz camp this summer, we had the girls. It was like the second day in both camps. I went to my colleagues and I was like, the girls gonna kick their butt. And in one class, we separated the book because they were misbehaving and they were getting on the girls' names. So we actually had girls on this side and boys on this side. So someone came, and one of the guests came, or one of the mentees came to talk to the kids. Mentors came to talk to the kids, and they're like, why you got the kids separate? I said, because the boys are over here acting silly and the girls are on it. They're writing their business plan. They need to be. So we did that as a punishment at first. And then for the rest of the camp, the girls like, no, keep us separate. We want to be on this side of the room. They can be on that side of the room being silly. And we had middle schoolers. So, middle school girls are much more mature than middle school boys. That's what I will say.
Because they're like, the women will take over.
They will take over. So, wow, you are really, I didn't realize how much you were into this.
I'm so into it. I mean, I think the strongest thing in life is a mother's love. You know? And I needed to make sure my boys were okay. I'm hard on them. They grounded right now. The oldest is grounded because his report card.
Oh.
So they are coding right now.
Yes, they're coding and getting paid.
And how old are they?
15 and 10.
And they're getting paid right now. How much is your 10-year-old getting paid to code?
He got paid $13.75 an hour, which for a 14-year-old, he was 14 then, is pretty good. You know? And that was his first job. And the 10-year-old, he gets a stipend. So the ones that are too young get student stipends.
Okay. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So another question, what time do you hold your classes? Is it weekends or evenings?
So it kind of depends.
For a 10-year-old?
It really depends since our center is not fully functioning yet. Right now we do it out of different schools and locations. So the Boys Academic Leadership Academy, I think it'll start in February, but it'll be only for the boys at the Boys Academic Leadership Academy. View Park will also be only for the View Park students. But we will have one for the community at either it'll be at Vermont Slauson headquarters or it'll be at the 10,000 square foot space on 6109 Western is the address. And that will be video and animation and video game design and development will be on Saturdays, either from 1 to 4 or 2 to 6. We're still kind of working through the all the details, but if you just follow us, Misla on MISLA or at the Real Misla on Instagram or
at the Real Misla
on Instagram and Twitter. And I think it's Made in South LA or Misla on Facebook. You'll be able to, or just go to our website and sign up for the the newsletter. You'll get emails about what's happening and where. And you can also apply for a scholarship at misla.org as well. And then also vsedc.org, the youth division page. There's a lot of things. By youth, VSEDC is funny. By youth, I think that for them, a youth is anyone like under 35.
So what's the best way to reach them if they're interested in your project right now? You gave out so many emails. What's the best one to reach you at?
Misla.org.
Misla.org. MISLA.org?
Okay. Yeah, Misla.org. You'll see everything there that you need. You can connect. You can always find me.
Fantastic. Wow. Yeah, because our kids, a lot of times their schools are not fully equipped to do that. And so whatever they're learning to play games, but they really should understand how the games can make them money, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because they're prolific at playing the game.
Yes.
But no one's ever told them that that game can become your career.
Yes.
So let's get you in place so that you can go to college and learn how to do that. And someone is sparking the idea so that they can start games, because the reason the Asian community is that way is because they see it as more than a game, right?
Yeah.
They see it as a business. Yeah. There's a show that is on Netflix right now. It's one of the originals. It's called The House of Alhambra. You will absolutely love it if you're this tech person. So it's about a company that has created this virtual reality game. So they use these contacts.
Okay.
And they put the contacts in, and it's like they're in the game.
Right.
So like instead of the big goggles, so they're in the game. But the whole premise is that it becomes so real that the people that are playing are actually dying.
Yeah. Something like my boys are watching. They're always watching.
Yeah. So they're actually dying.
What is this?
So the guy is trying to figure out why. There's something wrong with this program. So he takes it all the way up to the highest level and to find out what is wrong. Because one of his colleagues actually, they're battling it out, and he actually, when they find him, his body has been devoid of blood. He's dead. And he's like, wait a minute, he was just playing a game. There's something wrong here. So, but the way they got into it, and it's actually, and I'm not into the Game of Thrones, but this movie is actually pretty good. The whole series is like a drama series, so it's really pretty good. So the kids might like it. But
I think we need, as you were talking about the Asian households, to take a page out of their book. Sometimes you have to guide your kids. I believe in, I was, kind of forced to do,
Yeah. That was probably the best thing your father could have done for you.
But, I tell my kids, whatever you want to be, I will support it 100,000%. But if you don't know what you're doing with your life, you going to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And until you figure it out, you want to be an Olympic swimmer, okay, you're going to be an Olympic swimmer who codes.
Who codes.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there's technology in the Olympic swimming stuff, right?
I mean, you will have a job.
You will have a job.
I mean? Like, I've met unemployed coders, but that's because they want to be, and they can go get a job just like that,
Right.
It might take 2 months, 3 months because they're picky and selective because they can be,
right?
And that's a beautiful thing. I have this skill now, and if the bottom falls out and I got to go get a 9-to-5, which mind you, I haven't had since 2007,
right?
Okay?
Yeah,
a 9-to-5.
Yeah,
I can. The last job offer I was offered was $112,000 for technical product manager. And, I turned it down because it sounded terrible. It sounded like death.
$100,000.
Working for somebody else is the hard. She's the same way. It's going in.
She said it's hard.
And if you have
I
a
will sleep
skill
in my car before I work that 9-to-5 and just. I will Tyler Perry it out till I get there. What was Tyler Perry's car for 7 years?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do. I feel him, I mean, my kids probably wouldn't like sleeping in the car, though, so I got to make it work.
Yeah, right, exactly. But you have a skill that's marketable, and you don't necessarily, and you can also contract in to somewhere and still demand, and say what time you coming in. But no, I think it's very important for you to have very tangible skills. And now I was looking this week on what are the trends for business in both in technology and in traditional business, and the trends are for, if you're going into school, is to do nano degrees. So these are the nano degrees.
Right.
That's real.
4-year college, unless you're going to be an actual lawyer, professional lawyer, doctor, engineer, then you're spending a lot of money that may not materialize for a very long time, especially in the return of income.
Right.
But you can go get a nano degree in technology or anything and come out, like you said, 18 years old or 20 years old making $70,000. That's pretty darn good for someone that, average working in retail or in food and making $13, $14. Maybe you might be making $60 an hour. So I think that's excellent.
Yes.
And we as parents and individuals have to expose our children to all of these opportunities for.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my plan for my boys and, the boys that we mentor, and then we work with the girls and the boys. Right now I'm mostly working with boys, but the girls and the boys that we mentor and work with, and so that, by the time they're 18, they have the option, of optional. Colleges optional. Sorry, colleges, y'all bad.
Yeah. But you got to be, because it's expensive. So that,
it's so expensive. And if you already making $70K by the time you're 18 or more, that's, I tell my boys, you can go to college, but you're going to pay for it.
Right.
Because you're making $70K.
Right, exactly. So you can choose if you want to go get a master's degree in that after you done got it at the junior college or at some certificate nano program, then that's more power to you. Yes, that's on your dime, but still more power to you. And they can teach you whatever they want. From, like you said, Udemy and also YouTube. It teaches you everything. So thank you so much. This has been great.
Having you.
Thank you.
I know, and I got to learn even more about you.
Good.
We're going to sit down and talk to Cassie about incorporating one of her programs with our tennis program. So I just talked to Marty this morning, and so we're going to have that conversation. And then we have someone that's coming. We're going to start probably next month. A young lady that wants to teach our tennis kids Mandarin.
Oh, wow, nice.
Once a month. So
I think that's so important. Languages, and just, and music, all around. That's like, we want to go into in the future. Like we want to build out a recording studio at our location and a video production studio. So we do video editing, because creativity, I think that having like times of poverty, in my life, it gave me skills. Like you were like, what I got to do? Right, exactly.
And it does. It takes your brain to another place, right?
Yeah.
As entrepreneurs, you got to be able to pivot, because life doesn't always work out the way you planned it on paper or in real life. And so you got to be able to say, okay, now what else can I do using the skill that I have in order to make money? Right. And make money that I can survive on.
Right. You got to be creative, and I think this community is the perfect place for like real creative talent, because tech is creativity.
Yes.
You're building the new Snapchat, like that takes creativity, both from the front end side of the pretty and its it's beautiful, but also on the back end of how is it functioning. That is actually a very creative process. That people don't really understand, that so people shy away from technology because they're like, oh, that's just ones and zeros and boring, and it's actually super great.
Because you're interested in the backside, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
When she does her website, she gets very much involved with the programmer on how, and she has a very specific idea of how she wants it, so she has to understand how it works from the backside. So maybe with all that other stuff
I'm
that
about
you
to
can
learn.
do. You can code it, because then she's going to really be
over.
Somebody to reckon with.
My own code.
Because, she has her new online platform that she's created. Right. And so that'll be cool.
So that's all I'm missing. So you're going to make me great.
I'm going to make you great.
You're going to make me great, girl.
So, and then we definitely have to talk about some synergy with the kids. And your boys definitely want them in the biz camp, which you're going to start recruiting, because they will be phenomenal. You take what they've already know and add, and that's what I found when they were a lot of times we were teaching the kids. They're like, dang, we got to teach them Microsoft and how to use PowerPoint before we can even get them to do their presentation, because that's just in some of their and to this day and age, it's amazing that there are some schools that don't have computer labs, and the kids have absolutely no access to computers at all.
It seems to be most. In all the ones that I've been in the last 4 or 5 years, the fact that we have to do computer science 101, like open the file, save here, copy and paste. Y'all don't know copy and paste. I'll be like, I'm like the worst teacher, by the way. Be like,
how do you not know?
They be like, are you supposed to say curse words, Miss Betts? I be like, no.
But y'all
don't say these words. So bad.
Funny.
But no, I get it, because you're like, you don't not do this? Didn't they teach you this in school? You're like, well, how do you do a report?
Yeah, they be doing it on their iPads. They're on their iPads, like, doing things. I'm like, when you go to work, you are not working on an iPad. Like, come on, education system. Like, we need to prepare our students, our youth, and our adults to go into the workforce. They're working on computers. They're not even working on Chromebooks. All the schools got Chromebooks.
Yeah, all of them got Chromebooks.
So,
would you all beat
again,
down?
shout out to Sean, who just learned how to hack the Chromebook. So that can work like a regular computer, because you can't download software on a Chromebook.
No.
And, as a coder, you need to download software. So that's been a challenge. Our biggest challenge would be our technology,
the actual technology.
Computers are expensive. So getting those, we've been reaching out to Apple, if Apple or anyone from Apple, HP, Alienware, if any of you see this, we've been reaching out to y'all.
Okay,
y'all want to help with diversity.
We're going to give you a clip, and then you're going to send it over to them. And while you're talking about your voting program, especially when you guys launch. So when is the center going to be open?
So we're looking at springtime, summer at the latest. But until then, we're working. It's not the prettiest right now, but we can do what's important is that you can learn how to code. You go on, get your scholarship. In turn for the scholarship, you will help us out. You will volunteer. You will be an apprentice. So that's what we do.
Oh,
it's kind of like a trade-off. And that's what we plan to do with the space as a whole. Like, we know this community. We're not the next WeWork. We can't be a co-working space like WeWork, because this community can't afford WeWork.
Right.
WeWork is not for us.
Yeah.
In this community, so we need a center that is for the community. So the community has talent. They can paint. They can. They can come in and work. They can volunteer. They can clean. They can. They can. Once they learn to code, they can help build websites. Once they learn social media marketing, they can help. Once they learn gaming, whatever they learn, they can work right away. And so that's the point, to get everybody working right away for the community. It's very community centered.
I love it. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, so I hope to see your organization, other nonprofits there. You can do your classes. Shout out to Candy Lewis at Positive Results Corporation. I love what she's doing.
Yeah, she's doing some awesome stuff with the
homeless.
She's
working with the kids, with the homeless. More about the heart.
Yeah.
The the transitional age youth.
Yeah.
More about, I think I called a bunch of Silicon Valley headquarters. We got to get off.
What happened?
Headquarters.
No.
I was like, how much time we got? I called, when I started Missile, I called a bunch of Silicon Valley tech companies. And I was like, well, what's wrong with y'all diversity situation? Right. And they told me, they were like, well, we are getting candidates, but when we get them, they don't stay. It's like a culture shock thing. So imagine, the kid in South Central, Compton, Watts, whatever, goes to Silicon Valley and works at Facebook. Y'all heard of that Facebook engineer who wrote that article? Facebook has a black people problem. People of color problem, whatever it was titled. And they do. It's a very small amount. So first of all, their culture, Facebook, is not trained properly to understand how to, not be offensive when talking with women or people of color. You know, that is a whole training that they need. Yes. And then secondly, our people, we need a training on like how to deal with when people insult you and offend you, and how to deal with the fact that it's so different. It's a lot of people have never even been to the beach, out here. So first of all, we need to start moving out and checking out the scene, what I'm saying?
Get out your 4 block
around
radius.
Other people, because it can be a shock, when you step out. I remember I was here for like 2 months, and when I came out my little South LA bubble, I was like, oh my God, what is all this white privilege? It like slaps you in the face. I tell you, I didn't leave South LA for I lived here, I worked here. It was like I didn't leave for 3-4 months, and when I stepped out, I forgot. I forgot about, I was in my little bubble, and I was just happy and, living my whole life out here, but
my whole life, but not really, huh?
Well, not really. It's a little box, you guys.
It can be quite, it can be earth-shattering if you don't expose kids to outside, and even adults. I mean, there are a lot of people that just feel more comfortable, or they're not comfortable in another area, so they don't go to those other areas, and then when they do, they're like Gomer Pyle, like golly. For those of y'all young enough, almost, I think we all know who Gomer Pyle was. But but that's kind of the concept. And so you have to, we have to expose our children to more things. I remember when we took the kids from the Biz Camp, and last year they were sponsored by American Airlines, and so they got an opportunity to tour a 777. And so when you come in on the 777, you come right into business class. And so they were like, oh snap! This is where I need to be. And then from BizCast, then they went up to first class. So then I said, you guys want to see Coach? They're like, why? I ain't ever flying Coach. Well, you will.
Better get it together.
So how much we got to make to be here? I said, well, that means you guys got to finish college. You got to you got to create these businesses so you can afford to fly on business class, which is about $4,000 or $1,200 if you happen to have some points and mileages.
Those points.
Some points and biologists, but exposing our children to other to the world, and the internet does that. So that's one of the great things about technology is it exposes, it broadens your horizons, opens up your mind so that you're not thinking so myopic, and that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, you are doing a phenomenal thing. Thank you. I definitely, from another person who teaches kids, to strive for bigger and better lives. I commend you, because there's not a lot of us out here that work with babies.
Yeah, it takes a lot. You got to be really dedicated.
You got to be dedicated and committed to them. Yeah, and because it's hard, because sometimes you got to get past all that other stuff that they do, and all the other stuff that their mamas have done to them with their daddies, and so. But just I know from working with kids as long as I have that the rewards on the other side when they become adults is phenomenal to see them to be well functioning and doing their thing. Yeah. I just saw some kids of my ski program, their dads now, and they were both the two brothers holding their babies, their baby girls. And I'm like, oh my God, this is absolutely. I'm so proud of you guys.
Yeah. I felt like I had to. I felt like it was my obligation. I mean, I was that kid.
I
was that kid, and someone somewhere, helped me out and guided me. I've had so many mentors, so many great mentors to just say, okay, look, let me just help you out a little bit.
That
just direct you in the right way,
so cool.
So why shouldn't I give back? You
Yeah.
know? And it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's better to serve a higher purpose. It's nice to have that secure 9-to-5 job,
Yes.
that 6 figures. Boy, it was nice when I had it, you know.
Uh-huh.
But I've made 6 figures on my own, you know, and I've lost 6 figures on my own.
Right, exactly. So you've seen all sides of that, huh?
But like, it's really just not that important to me. You know,
Yeah.
I live a great life. I live a great life.
Yeah.
You know, and I keep it simple because I don't know where the money's gonna go. You know,
And you have to be conservative, especially when you have children.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to have that. Well, Cassie, it's been phenomenal having you on the
Thank you
show,
for having me.
and
Yes.
I am just so thrilled to know you, and so
Yes.
and very proud of all the stuff that you're doing.
Thanks. Last shouts out to Annenberg. Tyler from Annenberg. I told him I would give him a shout out because that's how I met Annenberg, which is helping really a lot with what we're doing moving forward, and we're super excited about it.
Well, I am excited and can't wait to see it. Maybe I can teach a class over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We got this on tape? Okay.
Yeah, we got that on tape. I'll call my buddy Terry. Hey, Terry. But I am so happy for you because this is what our community needs. And so thank you for being out there soldiering in your space, in the tech space, because that's important. All of us, and that we're doing what we're doing.
Yes.
And so please. So give them one last how they reach you.
Yeah, I mean, people come through with, volunteer, help us out with computers, connections, donations. Misla.org is the best way to find us. I'm Cassie Betts, Cassie Betts. I'm real easy to find, like online. So easy to find. So, just hit us up, come join us, be a student, take a boot camp. Be a teacher, engineers, we need you. I know you make a lot of money. I know.
Give back.
But come on, give back. We will pay you.
I mean,
it ain't your salary pay, but we do have a little extra change. Pay a phone bill with it or something. Come volunteer, give back to the community of South LA because we need real engineers. To teach. How are you going to teach? Someone to really be an engineer if you're not engineering. You know what I mean? Like if you've never worked as an engineer, you really can't really. I mean, we can try, and that's what we've been doing in the schools and things, and it's a start. But if we want to get our youth and our community working and making 6 figures, and to the point where we don't have to be out in the streets doing dumb stuff for $1. We have to give back.
Yeah,
right.
We do. Give back, and it's a fantastic thing. Well, thank you so much. So we're going to go to a quick break, and so we can bring up our next guest, and we're going to take a quick picture with Miss Cassie, and we want to thank her so much.
Yeah.
And we are tuning out for a minute. We'll be right back.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because